But I think the point that you made earlier about is solo travel everybody's cup of tea is actually a very, very philosophically deep point that you really need to think about. I'm going to give you an example that's not going to make me look great,
Okay.
but it is a powerful example, right? You live away from your parents. I live away from my parents, okay? My parents are in Gurgaon. Your parents are in Nagpur. How often do you talk to your parents?
Once a week.
Once a week. Do they call you or do you call them?
Because there's a grandchild involved, it works both ways now.
But I almost never call my parents.
Okay.
And my parents speak to me on a fairly regular basis. And the reason why this is because when I came to Mumbai 20 years ago or 25 years ago now, there was this expectation that I would check in.
Right.
And you know how I've like singular about what I'm doing right now. And unfortunately, my parents didn't fit into that singularity, as it were. I was so busy trying to figure out motorcycles and journalism.
Right.
I just didn't have time for this. And so there was this weird conversation where they said, you never call. And my point was, why would I call? There's nothing wrong. I love my job. I love what I'm doing and having a great time. So why would I call you? What is there to tell you? Right? And to me, I think there's two kinds of people. People who say you're checking in, so everything is okay. And people who believe you're not checking in, so everything must be okay. And all the calls are disaster oriented. Right? And I can't see my life as a series of impending disasters ever. I cannot do it. Right? So to me not calling the parent is just like, hey, nothing's happening. So why do I need to make a phone call?
So this is ridiculous because for us, my parents, they are completely different personalities, right? So my mom is this chill person and she's always been this way. Her motto has been, no news is good news.
That's it. Yeah.
So she never expected us to check in, or if you're out traveling, whatever, it would never be that she's expecting, oh, you guys didn't call me today. I need to know whether you're okay, what you're up to. Whereas dad is the opposite. He's paranoid about, like, he's always expecting something is going to go wrong.
Correct.
So we need to check in. Yeah. And mom is the opposite. So it's a hilarious difference. But over the years, like I remember even when I moved to Mumbai and for work, that was the one time they started calling. Both of them would call to just say, are you okay?
Correct.
You know, that way. And you would be so busy in that time's media madness that you had no time to breathe or think. Yeah. It would just be like, I'll talk to you later, you know. And that was basically.
Yeah. And along the way, when they retired, and both my parents continue to work, and it's not like they have regular jobs, but they continue to be gainfully employed. I asked them, is your outgoing not working? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, if I can call you, and if that is the expectation, then in theory, you can call me too. Right? And they said, how is it fair that a parent should call the child? I said, parent is retired. Parent has time. Child is gainfully employed and child is very single-minded. And child doesn't remember these things. So make an exception for the child and start calling the child. My dad didn't fall into that pattern. My mom did. And therefore my communication with my mom is actually very good. Okay. Because when she starts missing me, she'll just text me. And the text would be, she's watching this, so I know I shouldn't say it, but the text could be ridiculous. It could be, Delhi's very warm today.
Okay. It's a starter.
What it's basically saying is, are you free? Are you going to call? Can you call on the weekend? Right? And sometimes it'll be a little bit more information. My sister visited or didn't visit or whatever it is, right? But it gives me the sense in the back of my head saying, mom needs to speak to me. And then I ensure that over that course of those 5, 6, 7 days, wherever there is a moment, I'll call her. And in fact, we have 5-minute conversation saying everything is okay. I'm really busy. I'll call you Sunday. It's fine. But we found a way to make this work. The reason why this worrying thing is important is because if you think that your life is going to be an impending series of avoidable disasters, then you cannot do solo touring without a lot of barriers being overcome first. Whereas if you perceive life as a series of opportunities and disasters are the exception, then solo travel is actually very simple. And to me, I am way too optimistic to believe that something devastatingly bad is going to happen to me tomorrow. It might. Probabilities may be there. I cannot imagine
That is life. Yeah.
And I cannot imagine that is the format of life that I was born for. Right? So to me, can you take a motorcycle and head out into India? Yes. Will you be okay? 99% yes. Are there things that you should avoid doing? Yes. Don't be stupid. But that's literally all of there is to it. And the greatest thing about living in a country with the kind of population we have is you're never really so alone that you'll be stranded without help. Right? In Ladakh, where everybody says it's remote and there's nobody there, you just have to wait long enough, somebody will come and help you. How many stories of this do you know?
Yeah. Seriously.
right? And if you go to more densely populated places like say Uttar Pradesh or Madhya Pradesh or Maharashtra, when are you ever alone?
No chance.
Right? We were shooting in the run of Kutch, in the little run. We had permissions to drive the cars through the trail that crosses the run, the small run of Kutch. At the other side are salt pans. And in this process, we stopped to take a picture. Every time we stop to take a picture, this is like a 47-degree day and the heat shimmers everywhere and getting out of the car is a challenge kind of thing, right? Every time we stopped, somebody overtook us. But we're in the middle of the run of Kutch, which is inarguably one of the emptiest places on earth, as it were, right? Even there were people on Splendors who would show up every 15, 20 minutes, one Splendor, but they'd be there. Right? At nightfall that day, we got stuck at the edge of the salt pan.
Okay.
The driver of the Volvo decided to take a shortcut. Instead of going 90 degrees around the salt pan, which is the right thing to do because we know it's hard packed ground, he cut a corner. And it went like this and then went like that. It took less than 10 minutes for somebody to show up. Somebody materialized out of the gloom, right? And they said, oh, you're going to need a tractor. Oh, here's a number.
Right.
We're not at the edge of the run where somebody can see that, oh, there's an expensive looking car stuck in the salt pan. That's still 10 kilometers from there. But somebody showed up. So how difficult is solo travel really is more psychological than real.
If you enjoyed this bit of the conversation, I would recommend heading over to the MotorInc channel because that's where you'll find the entire conversation, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that even more.